3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. I guess good evening as we head into this December month. It's the end of the month of November, and it's a chilly night here. So let's go ahead and get the reading in from the ancestors and see what they have to say for this next month. And next month also holds the winter solstice. So we come to the end of fall and the beginning of winter. As we move into this cold period, and some consider this a time of endings and death, and grief for the long night and the cold, before it wakes again in the spring. But we'll see. What does this winter that's coming hold for us? Alright, so we have thrown the bones, got the dice, and we've got the Adinkra. Now, I'm going to start with the Adinkra, being that this is the cross design that is seen in a Adinkra cloth that surrounds many of the Adinkra symbols. It is about precision. Now, it also holds the aspect of acting like chapter guidelines. That we know that a chapter or the focus of the Adinkra and the story that's there has been completed. Now, why this is important, we also come to the dice, which is in the first position, or the first house, which deals with self, appearance, first impressions, beginnings, and your attitude. And this is what I would add to that aspect of how not only how precise we're being, but also the fact that there are new chapters both ending and starting, but more specifically beginning. And how you begin that chapter is going to be of great importance, because that's going to set the tone for how we also start and get through the winter months. So when we look at what we've got thrown out here, you notice our main bones. This one is home, that one is family, this one is social or community, all in a row. And again, there's that sort of precision that something is coming to both an ending and something is about to begin. Now, the interesting fact here was we have the broken rib bone here broken, and its broken edge is focusing towards the family. And it's right here at the end of the social bone. So I think there is going to very much be some elements about how our social lives are going to be in conflict with our family lives. Equally, as we've already started with this holiday season with Thanksgiving for those here, but as we go into the next month, we're going to have Christmas, we're going to have Hanukkah, we're going to have Kwanzaa. We're going to be having a lot more occasions of families coming together. And one of the things that these last several years have seen is the massive disruptions in families due to our social beliefs. And the notion and battlegrounds between focusing on family as being the center that's setting these emotional and social tones, and not setting that. And there's going to be some social standing, some social dynamics that are going to come up in this month of December that are going to actually, in some ways, drive this spike between both family and our social. Now, just keep in mind that our social can be our family as well. But there is, again, endings and beginnings. And we have to very much be looking at what are the appearances that are going on. How are we centering ourselves in understanding what's going on in our families, but also what's going on in our social circles and in the social places that we stand. Now, why this is equally important is that we are going to be looking at, here in the U.S., there are still some parts of the elections that have not been settled. And we're going to be seeing a bunch of that also getting settled in this month of December, which is also going to see perhaps some very nasty behavior on a social level towards people's lives. So it's not as done yet. It's not necessarily as cheery as we would like for this time period. But this time period, and with the solstices, with Hanukkah, with Christmas, with Kwanzaa, is ideally the aspect of us coming together as a people. So how is our sense of people also giving us a sense of what is our family? So these are all parts that we're going to be looking at as we go through all of this. Now, when we move down to the quartz piece, the copper piece, as well as the shell, we notice the shell is turned inward. So we've got, this adds to that element of the self and the understanding about how is something ending, how is something beginning, what is the impressions and attitudes we are going into this winter period with. Are we going in with that aspect of that is going to be tooth and nail as a society and the only thing you can protect is your family? Or are we keeping in mind that our families also can't exist without our societies, without our communities? So it's about keeping that in perspective, and more especially ego. Because we have a couple of the support bones behind it, as well as one of the rib bones. And so we have to be very much focused on understanding what that means. So equally, too, this is going to be a very big month, too, about being conscious about mental health and how we are dealing with both the sadness and depression that comes up at this time of the year, because we are going into the long dark, but also the fact that so much grief and strife has been happening in the last 6 months, or no, not 6 months, 6 years, that people are tired. People have lost members of their family to that social divide. So how are we supporting and keeping that in perspective? The copper piece shows still is out here in the midst of it all, and that spirit is there, but spirit, again, as always, is watching. What are the actions? What is the potential that you're showing? And how is it going to be working and focusing on balance? And here we have the quartz piece, which is also surrounded by a number of the balance bones, but much more of the rib bones. So there's a lot that's going to be going on here with what are we finding inspiration with from the past. And that inspiration of the past is what's going to talk to us about ourselves, about our appearances, about our first impressions, about our beginnings, and our attitude. And we do that with a certain kind of precision that allows us to know something has ended, something is beginning. So be very focused, because obviously, again, we're talking about a time period where family comes together, which means a lot of family memories, a lot of family heirlooms. And some of those family memories and heirlooms can have an impact on our, not just our family, but our social existence. So be conscious about it and recognize there are new traditions starting all the time, which also means there are traditions that are ending all the time. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope you have a safe solstice, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and a blessing in the new year. As we will do towards the end of the month of December, we'll do the New Year's readings and the January readings. So be safe, be warm, wherever you are in the world, and trust in the ancestors. Ashe.